Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're seeing this presentation. Um, this week we're going to be talking about James Madison, the fourth president of the United States. Before we get to business, though, let's talk a little bit about our class. First, I'd like you to tell your parents, I'm sorry I keep bothering them about you participating in the class, but you aren't being graded. So let's get some things straight, okay? Um, I didn't write it in the PowerPoint. There's a couple of you guys that are using notebook paper for some reason and taking a picture. I don't know if it's because you don't have the internet or what the deal is. Man, that notebook paper is really hard to read. If you could just type your answer out and send it to me, I would appreciate it. If it's impossible, well, sure, send the notebook paper. Um, so first off, today there's no questions. The reason there's no questions is because it's Monday. Okay, now this is what I'm not understanding with some folks. It's like they go out and they research um, the question I'm asking when all you have to do is look at the PowerPoint from the day before. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I am going to be grading just a tiny bit harder. And I've been giving everybody 105 for just jumping in there and giving me all the right answers, and 100 even just for participating. Um, you will make an A regardless of uh, if your answer is right or not, but I will email you back and tell you where you're wrong. Okay? But there's no questions on Mondays. The questions are Tuesday through Friday. The Friday questions are considered a test. So it's anything from the week. And you get those answers from the YouTube video. My YouTube channel is Charlie Baldwin, Texas History. There's only two of you that I have not been in contact with. Um, Also, you need to answer the questions by sending them to me at cbaldwin at sacbstx.org. A couple of your parents said that you have been sending me answers. Well, you haven't. So please send the answers so you can get graded. And yes, you can go back on last week's questions and answer those, and I'll give you full credit for it, okay? Yes, you are being graded. Now, like I said, this week I've been giving like everybody 105, 110. We'll be back to giving you 100. That'll be the perfect score. Okay? And thanks a lot to all you guys that are participating. So, this week we're going to talk about James Madison. And so today we're going to talk about James Madison, the man. So, first off, he was born in 1851 in Virginia to a very wealthy tobacco planter. But he's kind of a weak, sickly kind of kid. And so because of that, they don't slate him to run the plantation. They send him off to college. And because of his temperament, they think he'd be a great preacher. The problem is, he is so soft-spoken. And in those days, preachers were fire and brimstone. You had to really get out there and really shout and yell, not just because there's no microphone system, but just because that's what people came to see. Church was as much entertainment as anything else for a lot of folks, and a preacher who you couldn't hear wouldn't be somebody that you would go and see. He went to Princeton, which is in New Jersey, for his education, and reason for that was Virginia was so wrought with all kinds of disease, especially yellow fever from mosquitoes, and he just was too sickly to attend college at William and Mary, which was in Virginia. He went to Princeton, and strange thing is, he finished his degree in 3 years, which was unheard of at the time. He did stay on a couple more years to study Latin. Um, and like I said, his dad thought he'd make a great minister, but no, he just wasn't slated for that. So, first off, he didn't serve in the Revolutionary War because he's just too sickly. It would have killed him. He did serve in the Virginia House of Representatives for a couple of terms. He attended the Constitutional Convention, His friend, Thomas Jefferson, who was in France, bought tons of books on government, especially the Roman government, and sent them back to James Madison, who read them. And so one of the great things about Madison being at the convention is he was the secretary for the convention, and we have the awesomest notes from his attendance at the convention. We know what everybody said, what was done, how things were worked out, compromises, that type of thing. The other thing about Madison was because he was so soft-spoken. When he would speak, everybody would get silent. And the reason they would get silent, that was the only way you could hear him. His voice was so low, so, I don't know, it was just almost, you couldn't hear it. So people got quiet to hear what he had to say. Because he had so much to do with the Constitution and the setup of the government, he became known as the father of the Constitution. He also was one of the authors of the Federalist Papers, and he was a founding member of the Democratic Republican Party. When Jefferson became president, he became Jefferson's Secretary of State. And I told you guys incorrectly last week that he was the Attorney General. No, he was the Secretary of State for Jefferson. So we'll see you guys. Tomorrow we'll have a wonderful presentation that you'll have some questions on that you'll answer. And hopefully you'll watch the student news. Have a good day.